Hello everyone, my name is Ni Yin. I'm a third-year psychology student at University College London in the United Kingdom. The paper I'll be presenting today is titled Cap and No Cap, Cognitive Load Approach in the Context of Deception Stakes, Age, and Forensic Settings. So in the age before cameras, the brushes in the painter's hand is the only tool to record the crime scene. Although this should stick to the realism and restore the crime scene, lies could be conceived in the paintings. Perhaps the earliest deceptive behavior in the criminal history could be traced back to the 18th century, when Jack Louis David, as the royal painter, was designated to record the death scene of Marat, who was assassinated. David named his work as The Death of Marat, as you can see here. The only character in his painting is Marat. However, at the actual crime scene, what we can't tell from David's work is the assassin, Charlotte Corday, who did not flee after the murder. In other words, David deliberately removed the murderer from his record of crime scene. David and his work gives a perfect example of deceptive behaviors in the criminal history that could be possibly documented back in the old days. Now, in the 21st century, where our deceptive behaviors could be documented more easily, research has found people to produce an average 1 to 2 lies per day. Despite saying that, our ability in detecting deceptions are limited. Both lay respondents as well as law enforcement personnel showed a worrying deception detection accuracy at around 54%. To prevent the miscarriages of justice in the criminal justice system, the deception detection rate must be enhanced. With that in mind, various approaches have been developed to aid the deception detection process. Cognitive load approach is one of the most recently developed approaches that becomes a hot topic. Cognitive load approach is built on the theory that telling lie is more mentally taxing than speaking the truth. It is an umbrella term referring to a wide range of deception techniques built on the theory. Most of the techniques fall into 3 categories based on the purposes: imposing cognitive load techniques, eliciting more information techniques, and unexpected questioning techniques. However, there are some issues in the past literature such that scholars did not reach an agreement on the effectiveness of cognitive load approach. In particular, the effect of this approach seems to vary across different contexts, such as age, deception stakes, and between laboratory and real life. Therefore, the main goal of the current study is to review the effectiveness of cognitive load approach from the perspective of context. Mainly, I've focused on 3 contexts that are deception stakes, age, and interview authenticity. Starting from the deception stakes, low-stakes deception refer to those that bring less adverse consequences for the deceiver, such as cheating in exams. In contrast, high-stakes deceptions refer to lies that bring substantially more detrimental consequences for the deceiver, such as lying to cover a crime. As stated here, I also included the crime relatedness as a criteria for categorizing the two, such as low-stakes lies are not related to crimes and high-stakes lies are related to crimes. Cognitive load approach is found to exhibit more successful examples in high-stakes scenarios, while encountering more failures in low-stakes scenarios. I also looked into some of the current issues unresolved in the field of high and low-stake deception detection. In particular, people do not seem to experience the same amount of cognitive load of telling a high-stake lie in laboratory as in real life. In addition, definition of high-stakes and low-stake deceptions vary between research, challenging the study in this field. Coming on to deception detection in children. When dealing with children liars, cognitive load approach is less effective and often fails to improve deception detection accuracy, despite the fact that it could predict children's behavior as the theory suggests. Here, I provide some possible explanations for why this approach stands in theory but failed in practice. This includes a choice bias with children. In particular, people tend to regard children as more naive and prone to believe them as a truth teller even if they lied. On the other hand, the failure of cognitive load approach could be due to children's limited cognitive ability. For example, compared to true reports, children tend to remember their false reports for a longer period. This will allow children to provide deceptive statements more consistently in the interview than truthful statements. Finally, when implementing this approach to real-life context, the cognitive load approach in real-life deception detection seems to have a worse performance. Here, I will present two examples of the cognitive load approach and their performance in laboratory settings and in real-life forensic context. First is the cognitive interview for suspects. In laboratory settings, the CIS-trained college students were much better in detecting deceptions than those who received no trainings. However, in real-life forensic context, this approach adopted by customs failed to improve the accuracy of deception detection to the same level. Strategic interview is another one. In laboratory, this technique is tested by computers analyzing videos of either truth tellers or a deceiver, based on the cognitive load theory. This approach showed a superior accuracy at around 90%. However, when humans adopting the same strategic interview technique, on the other hand, they obtained an accuracy no better than the chance level. And they could only achieve the comparable accuracy to the computer when humans are supported with statistical and technical abilities. So, in conclusion, what matters when we try to comment on the effectiveness of cognitive load approach? To give a full picture, we have to dissect it into varied contexts. And the message to take away from this study is that cognitive load approach seems to be more effective in detecting high-stake lies. It is challenged by the age group of children, and the practicality of such approach is still in concern, with further work on this topic needed. And thank you all for today for your coming and your patience, and please post any questions if you have.